I I had to clear out my anxieties with a nice, a nice deep breath. Is that what that was? Is that all that is? Hi. I, I am going to talk. I will find my woman's voice eventually. I do believe. Do believe I will find it, and it won't be with the southern accent. Or maybe the real me is just a southern woman. Maybe that's just the real me. I don't know. But how are y'all doing? My sweet children. See, I gotta stop drinking coffee. This is my second cup. This is a large cup of coffee. This is my second large cup of coffee. I'm working on my second large. I just started drinking it, but I only had an hour of sleep last night because I was up making videos. And I'm going to throw them all away because I didn't have my microphone on. I made 4 videos that wasn't using my microphone at all. Well, I shouldn't say at all because I was at all using my microphone because I was using the microphone from the webcam, not the microphone I bought for making reaction videos. And the microphone on the webcam is worthless. So it works, but it makes for a crappy video. So hello, my sweets. What was I gonna say? There are 2 ways in which transition so far has helped me get over my need for validation from other people. If I do this when I talk, it helps me get the words out. It's like I'm cranking a machine. It's like my mouth just starts moving. It's like blah 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 blah. And the words are coming out all on their own. I don't have to think about it. I mean, the 2 ways in which transition has helped me get over my need for validation from other people. So let me start off by saying that I lived my life for the first 39 years of my life, or even after 39 too, but a little bit. I haven't completely gotten over my need for validation, but for at least the first 39 years, my life, the preoccupation of my life, my purpose in living was to be validated by somebody else. I was looking for somebody else to tell me I am okay. And do I even need to say that it never happened? Or even if I did meet somebody who told me that I was okay, I just didn't believe it. But I lived in this world where it's like if somebody looked at me funny, or if I walked by people and I heard them laughing, or somebody insulted me. Even one time a guy told me I was handsome, and I felt insulted because I was wearing makeup, and I thought he shouldn't have told me that. He should have told me I was pretty. But I was very easily offended, and people will say that means you're sensitive. To me, that's not what sensitive means. That to me, if you're easily offended, that means you have low self-esteem. That's not the same as being sensitive. If you're easily offended, it's because you can't validate yourself because you have low self-esteem, which means you probably don't see yourself very well. And because you don't see yourself, you want other people to show you who you are. And so when they show you that you're a piece of shit, you feel like in some way they're actually validating yourself because you think you're a piece of shit already. And you're like, I don't, that's not what I wanted to hear. I didn't want to hear that I'm a piece of shit. I knew that already. That's why I'm looking to you to tell me that I'm not a piece of shit. And because that's how I felt. I felt like I was a piece of shit. I felt like I was a big turd. And I basically wanted somebody to tell me that I'm not. And so maybe you already guessed it. One of the ways that transition so far has helped me, and by transition I do mean taking hormones, is that one of the ways it's helped me get over that is just by when I see myself looking. Where is this guy going? Hopefully I'm not in the way. That's a little bit scary. There's a big old truck with a bunch of pavers or something driving by me. I don't want to be clipped. I think he might be having trouble. I think he might have gone the wrong way. Now he's gonna have to make a big, huge turn around. I don't know what he's doing. Anyways, what was I saying? The first way that I was gonna mention was that when I see myself, the more I see myself looking like a woman, the more I feel like I don't need validation. The more I feel like I'm not a turd. I'm not a turd after all. I'm actually quite all right. I'm actually better than all right. I'm actually quite a beautiful being. And I kind of feel like I really don't need anybody else to tell me who I am. So that's one way. But then the other way is that, and I may go back to that in here in a minute, because I don't know if I fleshed that out entirely. But the other way is that I because of things like me looking like a man, like you see how I kind of look like a man? Do I kind of look like a man a little bit? You know, maybe I don't quite have a woman's body, but you see I do have breasts. I do have breasts. I mean, they're significantly larger than most any other man's breasts, I would say. I think if someone looked at me, they might think that I have a problem. Like maybe I was, what's that guy from Fight Club? Moose, is that his name? Moose? Meatloaf, the character he played, that with the what did he call him? He called him the bitch tits, I believe is what he called him. Because what did he have? He had prostate cancer or something, and he was taking something. Oh, steroids. He had been taking steroids and something like that, and he grew these ginormous breasts. So when people see me, I don't know if that's what they think. Maybe they think I was a steroid user or something. But I don't imagine they think that when they see me with the makeup on, you know. Or if I'm wearing a woman's top, I don't imagine they think that. They probably think there's one of them transgender freaks. There's one of them transgender freaks. And but what that does, being in this kind of state where I'm not really a man, not really a woman, where I'm kind of I am kind of a freak, that getting acclimated to being seen that way, it is like the more I go out into public looking like this, the more I get over my concern. It's like I get to the point now where like I go out in public and talk to myself in public and sing to myself in public and stuff like that, because it's like the fear of my thoughts are a little bit confused at the moment. It's like I got I'm stirring a pot of thoughts here, and they're a little bit mixed up. But I am trying to cook something delicious for you. I'm trying to cook something delicious, but it's just a little bit, hold on one second. My concern for what other people thought about me, my need for validation, you might say that I had a constant worry about how other people saw me. So, a big part of that was the gender. A big part of that was the gender, but that was not the only thing, right? You might say that I had a generalized fear of being socially unacceptable. That this was, people might also phrase that as a fear of being rejected. So, part of the borderline personality disorder thing, which is, my tentative diagnosis from my psychologist is borderline personality disorder, which is characterized by a fear of abandonment and a strong need for validation from other people, strong enough that it becomes crippling or debilitating and that sort of thing, because a lot of people have a fear of being rejected and that sort of thing. They have a fear of or need for validation, but for them it's mild enough, or you might say it's somewhat negligible, and it might not crop up or manifest in their life until maybe something like they have to go on stage to give a presentation, and then all of a sudden they're pissing their pants. Who was this calling me? And so for me, the fear of being rejected, you might say, also could be translated as, or is related to the fear of being socially unacceptable. So like when I started losing my hair, you see this, I was terrified, because I was afraid that nobody would ever love me. I thought I am gonna be a socially unacceptable turd, and so that was one of the ways in which this fear of being socially unacceptable manifested. Things like not talking to myself in public, things like that. If I talk to myself all the time in my head, I'd go out in the public, I'd go to the store and be talking to myself the whole time in my head, but I kept it in my head because I don't want to be socially unacceptable. I don't want people thinking I'm a freak or a weirdo or anything like that. So it's and then the way I dressed, I always dressed very don't judge me. Don't judge me. I really don't want you paying attention to me at all, really. Please don't judge me. So I wore like the most safe clothes I could wear. I wore blue jeans and t-shirts and typical white guy clothes, just the most boringest, unstylish. I don't want to even try to attempt to have style. I'm just gonna go with what I saw on the TV show. This the catalogs and the advertisements and these guys who just wear tennis shoes and socks and tennis shoes and socks. Oh shit. But just like the most plain clothes you can imagine. That's what I wore most of the time. I did try to be stylish sometimes. What was that? I bought a shirt once that was a little bit stylish. You might have thought it was a woman's shirt, and that might be why I bought it. But because it was for sale in the men's department, I thought that meant it was a man's shirt, because that's how I used to think. If you buy a shirt in the men's department, that means it's a man's shirt, even though it looked just like a woman's shirt, because it was kind of see-through and it had these long it was a dress shirt, but it wasn't flat. It had these kind of crimps in it. I don't know what else to call it, but like folds in the fabric to give it a kind of stylish look, I remember a guy in the army said he loved that shirt. He asked me if he could wear it, and I'm like, I think you might be gay, because even then I was thinking this is pretty much a woman's shirt, but because it was in the men's department, I feel like I can get away with it. If somebody asked me, is that a woman's shirt? I'd say, no, I found this in the men's department. But really, who determines whether a shirt is a man's shirt or a woman's shirt? It's not Allah. It's not Allah who determines that. So, or is it? Is it? I don't know. I'm a little bit loopy at the moment. Did I have too much coffee? A little bit loopy. I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Quick interruption. I saw my new therapist for the first time today. He seemed like a very nice fellow. I don't know if it will help much for me to see him. The impression that I got is that this might be almost its own kind of work. This could be more of a mutually beneficial relationship. I think maybe because he can learn about trance or something like that from me, because apparently he doesn't know much about it. But he is a psychologist, so I'm sure he has something to offer me. Maybe I can just learn how to be a psychologist from him. I could just sit. I'll be like, yeah, we don't need to talk about trans stuff. You can just tell me how to be a psychologist. Give me a free education. How about that? So, anyways, what was I saying? Getting over my fear of being socially unacceptable. I think anything I did that made me look like a weirdo, I was a little bit afraid to do. Like I like to get high on cough syrup, and I felt like that's just not cool. It's like it's not a cool kid drug. Like marijuana is a cool kid drug. Alcohol is a cool kid drug. Cocaine is a really cool kid drug. If you're doing cocaine, you're pretty up there. Heroin, maybe not so much. You're a little bit like you might be headed for the trailer park or something like that. Living in a van or something. LSD, yeah, kind of. But cough syrup, that's about like huffing gas or sniffing magic markers or something like that. That's kind of how I felt. So I didn't like to talk about the fact that I drank cough syrup. Because it just wasn't cool, It wasn't cool. It's kind of in the realm of being socially unacceptable. Kind of in that realm. If it's not in that realm, it's right at the border. Yeah, like dancing funny, wearing dirty clothes, wearing smelly clothes, not showering for a day or two. All these things, go into that category of just being socially unacceptable. So my point there is that I wasn't just afraid of being seen as a woman, but apparently that was one of the, if you think of like fear as like a block, like if you have like there's a tunnel between you and God, right? And it's clogged up with blocks. And those blocks are fears or attachments and stuff like that. My biggest block was my fear of being seen as a woman. Apparently, because it's like the more I take that out of the way, the more all these other stuff just becomes like negligible. It's like, who cares about singing in public now? I can go in public as a man with breasts, and who cares if I'm singing in public? Law! I don't sing like that when I'm in public. I did that as kind of just I don't know what the fuck that was. But there is that kind of feeling. It's like, if I can be seen as a woman in public, then I have no reason to be afraid about anything. Who cares if I'm talking to myself? Who cares? A friend of mine told me that my whole identity was built upon the fear of being seen as a woman. I don't know where she got that from. I don't know why she said that, but I think there must be something true about that, because I do feel like a lot of these other fear-based things, like wanting to wear the safe clothes and wanting to act in socially acceptable ways and not act like a weirdo, and and doing weird stuff while you're talking and stuff like that. Apparently a lot of that was just another manifestation of the fear of being seen as a woman, if that makes sense. It's like I think one of the things that I avoided in my life was direct attention. I felt like people didn't see me, but I also felt like I didn't want them looking at me. So I was always very safe. I was always very self-conscious and very inhibited and unexpressive. I never felt like I really expressed myself in any way. And since I started with the cross-dressing and now with the hormones, it's like I got a bunch of crayons in my hand, and I'm just like blah 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 all over the place with my self-expression. Just kind of just like whatever I feel like doing, I'm gonna do. That's not entirely true. It's not entirely true. It's like the Southern accent. The Southern accent did not come up until I started cross-dressing, and I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. part of that, but that's part of the same thing because I saw the Southern accent as being socially unacceptable. It's like a thing that's like it's just not cool. It's not cool to talk like a redneck, you know. But like now I'm like I don't really care now. It's like I can just kind of just whatever, whatever, whatever. And I think maybe that's why I'm doing it because it's just like a socially unacceptable thing. And now this whatever it is inside of me that's like just go out and be socially unacceptable. Just go out and be socially unacceptable all you want. Just go be socially unacceptable all you want. Just go be a freak and color outside the lines and take your crayons and just throw them at the world. Don't even worry about painting a picture. Just take your crayons and throw them at the world. The world is your canvas. And just throw the shit out there like Jackson Pollock. And eventually you'll learn how to paint. Eventually you'll be a master painter. And your self-expression will be your paintbrush. You believe that? Did I just make that shit up? I think I might have just made that shit up. Or maybe the master painter is talking through me. Maybe the master painter is talking through me. Would you believe that the master painter, is there a master painter inside of me? Is there a master painter inside of me? He's saying, just throw your shit at the canvas. Just throw your shit at the canvas. We'll learn how to paint as we go. Don't stop trying to paint a masterpiece. You're not a master painter yourself. You're not a master painter yourself. Not yet. The master painter is inside you. He's saying, stop trying to paint your goddamn masterpiece. Stop trying to paint your goddamn masterpiece and just throw your shit at the canvas. So I'm eating my crayons. I'm throwing them at the canvas. And I can do this in a video. I don't know if I can do this in public. This kind of stuff I'm still a bit scared about this, especially around my family. Because I think they're the ones I'm afraid of the most. And it's not because I'm afraid of them, it's because they're the ones I want the most to validate me. Does that make sense? It's not like that they intimidate me. It's more because I really want somebody to love me. I want somebody to love me. And who better to love you than your own family? Oh. Is that the case? Is that the case? Sometimes I think I'm afraid of my brother, but I don't know if it's because he's just a little bit intimidating or if it's because I really want him to love me, you know? I want him to say, hey, you're a cool kid. You're my brother. You're a cool kid. Did I make my point? Why all of a sudden does my head feel heavy? Is it thinking about that? Is it something I'm afraid to show? Is there something I'm afraid to? Is there a crayon inside me that I don't want you to see? I got a dark black and brown and shitty. It's a shit crayon. No offense to brown people, but I got some dirty underwear I don't want you to see. Is that? Do I still have that? Maybe I'll get over that eventually, but right now that's not the point of this video. It's not the point of this video. The point is that the transition has helped me in two ways to get over my need for validation from other people. And like I said, one of those is just seeing that I'm okay. Just seeing that I am a beautiful person and that I'm a real person. See, because when you start to see yourself as a real person, you don't need validation from other people. It's when you're fake. When you're a fake person, then you need validation from other people. Because you're not being real. Only a fake person needs validation from other people. Because if you're real, then you know who you are, right? You know who you are. I can't say that I know who I am, but when I see myself as a woman, I feel like, that's a real person that I'm looking at. That is a real person. When I looked at myself in the mirror as a man, I always felt like I'm not looking at a real person. I'm not even looking at myself. That's what I felt like. I'm not looking at myself. So, of course, if I'm not looking at myself, how can I see myself? I have to use the world as my mirror. I say, world, show me who I am. And the world says, you're a piece of shit. And we know you're a piece of shit because you're asking us to tell you who you are. You gotta be a piece of shit. Did I make my point? I think it's right about time to stop. I'm right at 25 minutes. I'm gonna upload this one directly. I don't think I'm even gonna watch it. Should I just upload this without even watching it? Does that sound like a good idea? I think I might do that. In the spirit of getting over my concern with what people think about me, I'm not gonna watch this video. I'm gonna assume that I did a good job. How about that?